Let's take a look at the Dragapult list that I'm likely to play in the Players' Cup. Welcome back everyone to more from the Sable Eyes. I'm Mitch, and today we're going to take a look at the Dragapult list that I'm going to take into the Players' Cup, as well as a couple of games with the deck to show you the power against some decks that are possibly going to come up, possibly not. We'll have to wait and see, but ultimately I think this deck is probably a pretty good call. There are a couple of things that are worrying me a little bit, but ultimately I think there's enough going on with Dragapult that we can probably see some success with it. If you like this kind of content and you'd like to see more, then please consider subscribing. It's easy to do, it's free. Just click the button down below and you can always unsubscribe if you'd like. There's no pressure at all. But yeah, we're going to take a look at the list and see exactly how this deck's going to work. So obviously Dragapult VMAX is very powerful. It has Max Phantom for 130, and then we place 5 damage counters. Now, I'm not going to talk about this list too much, actually, because this list that I'm taking into the event is effectively the same as Tord's Dragapult list that he played in the Invitational with, -1 Dragapult VMAX, and +1 Scoop Up Block Mr. Mime. So that's pretty much the only change. So I won't go through too much detail on the card counts themselves, but I will say this deck is really, really powerful, it's really consistent, and it asks for very little. And that's the thing that I think is most important when you're playing in big tournaments, is making sure that your deck doesn't want much and doesn't fall apart, essentially. So like with a high count of research, with a Dedenne and a couple of Acrobikes, Marnie, all this kind of stuff, we're going to be able to search through our deck pretty consistently. And with 9 energy and 2 energy spinner, we're going to be able to find the energy that we need to attach onto our Dragapult turn 1 pretty regularly. So I'm super happy with this list. I haven't had a huge amount of luck with it over the last couple of days, I will say that much, but hopefully it is enough to get through the first couple of rounds of the Players' Cup. What we'll do is we'll show you a couple of games now, 2 in a row hopefully, that show off exactly how this deck works. Alright, we'll see if we can get a couple of games in a row here. Looks like we are playing against a Firebox type deck, so I'm not sure. We won the coin flip, which is good. Want to win the coin flip most times with Dragapult, especially since you're going to be manually attaching. We've got ourselves a Dragapult V, which is pretty solid, but we don't have access to energy just yet. So we'll see what comes up. Looks like we're playing against Growlithe. Okay, so this isn't a highly competitive game, but hopefully we can get this one going and try and show off how consistent this deck is. We are going to need to throw away a VMAX here, as well as a Boss and a Research. But the most important thing, like I've said, is getting that energy. So we need the Dedenne so that we can get it. There's a couple. So we've got the Horror. It's a bit of a risk attaching that one, because they could potentially discard it with a Giratina or something like that. But I'm not expecting this type of deck to be playing those types of cards. Now, next turn, provided that we don't get Marnied, we have everything that we need again. We just need 1 Psychic Energy and a VMAX, which we've got in the Mysterious Treasure. So I'm feeling pretty good. Our opponent has welded 1 energy to a Growlithe. Okay, so that's no good. We could actually possibly win the game this turn if everything goes well off of this Marnie. I think we need 2 Scoop Up Nets, or like a Quick Ball and a Scoop Up Net, provided that they don't put down another Pokemon. But we'll see how it goes. You can see just how easy it is for you to set your own side of the board up. We've done effectively nothing, and we've managed to find pretty much all the cards that we need. So pretty happy here. It looks like they are gearing up to pass. Okay, so let's see. Can we get ourselves a big knockout here? We'll find the VMAX first. So we'll grab that one and evolve it. We'll attach the energy. And we can chuck down the Zigzagoon here and put 10 on the benched Growlithe. So if we do that, then we need 2 more, because Growlithes have 80 HP. So we're going to Marnie. We need a Quick Ball and a Scoop Up Net. Ooh, just the 1 Scoop Up Net. We have a good deck, well played. Oh, well, thank you very much. We've got the Scoop Up Net. I probably will play it now, just in case we do get Marnied again. It's not likely. They are probably need to Welder, but that's okay. We don't quite get the win, but we very easily could have. All we needed was 1 more Quick Ball, and we would have got there, or a Scoop Up Net would have done the job as well. So this is pretty solid. Now, no matter what our opponent does, we are likely to go on to win this game, presuming, of course, they get an Arcanine that will have 230 HP, which is quite a lot because of that what do you call it? The band, whatever it's called. The Burning Scarf, I think that's what it's called. But yeah, we'll see how we go. It looks like they're going for Quick Ball here. Probably find themselves a Detonate. And that's good for us. That means that we've got ourselves a couple of prizes to target on the bench as well. But yeah, this seems like it's a bit of a formality at the moment. We'll run through it. And it gives us a chance to get 2 games in a row, which would be great. There's the Arcanine. Firemane's only going to do 130, which is good for us. Because we're not in trouble of getting knocked out when we're getting hit for 130 multiple times. The burn could be frustrating, but that's only if we attack into it. We've got the boss in hand, so we could bring out the Detonate or something like that, and take some put some damage onto those Pokemon on the bench. I think that's probably a smart play here. So the key thing with Dragapult is just making sure that you've got your damage placement correct. We probably didn't have the damage placement correct on the Arcanine, not that we had a choice. I mean, we only had the Growlithe on the bench anyway, but, you know, there's not much we can do. The good thing, though, is that we have got that extra damage from the Horror Energy. We'll just play this Acrobike, see what we can get. This skateboard's probably not too bad. We can put that onto a Dragapult at some point, I think, maybe. But first, we'll bosses out this Dene. We'll do 130 damage to it, which will be pretty solid, and then... probably should attach this to the Dragapult. We'll put it on the bench one. We'll see what happens. We do 130 to this Dene, and we'll put the rest of it on the Arcanine. And that means that now, next time we attack, presuming, of course, that they move the Dene out of the active, we'll just get ourselves 2 free prizes. So that's pretty good. Yeah, sad face from Dopplermoose there. Not particularly happy with that turn. Now, what I've done is I've put the Victini on 10 damage. It's a bit of an interesting one. They've got 90 HP, so 190 HP, sorry. So that means that in order for us to one-shot it, we need to have done 6 damage to it before we gust it out. So if we put 10 damage on then, we put 5 damage on next time, we'll have enough in order to deal our full knockout. And if they do attack with Victini this turn, which is a possibility, then we have a chance to possibly go on and win the game from there. So we'll see how we go. We've got our 5 prizes kind of lined up on the board now. It's just a matter of how we're going to go about getting them. I would really like, off of this Professor's research, presuming of course that they retreat into one of their attackers, I would like to get a Shrine of Punishment and a couple of Zigzagoon ticks. If we can knock out the Dene now, we set ourselves up to be in a really, really good position for winning this game. It looks like they're going to go for the Energy Burst. They'll hit for 20 damage into us, which is great. We've got a Scoop Up net there, which is really good. This we can use to put damage onto the Dene. We can research and go for that Shrine and hope for the best. We'll see what happens. Zigzagoon here will place that damage. Actually, let's put it on the active because we're going to get the Shrine anyway. It's going to be fine. We'll get the Shrine. We'll get the Shrine. There's the Shrine. We can put that one down. We can scoop up the Zigzagoon, and that Dene will be knocked out very quickly. And we are almost in range of knocking out this Victini. Actually, is there a way that we could knock out this Victini this turn? We've got the scoop up net. We can scoop the Zigzagoon up. Let's just try it. Let's see how we go. Let's put some damage counters down onto this Victini. We'll quick ball here. Get ourselves another Zigzagoon. This is actually better than what I had planned before. We'll get ourselves the Zigzagoon here. Oh, our opponent's just conceded. There you go. So you can see how easy it is to get those big knockouts. I started that kind of game thinking, okay, well that Victini is going to be something that we're going to need to take a knockout on, but we'll see how we go in a second game. Hopefully we can win 2 in a row. But yeah, I really like Dragapult. It's just... the thing that frustrates me about it is that it's so easy to set up, but sometimes if you just don't set up, you lose. So you just got to be careful when you're playing Dragapult that you always start with a Dragapult and an Energy. Preferably going first as well would be good. We've won the coin flip again here. That's good. So let's go first. We'll see what we're playing against. Alright, cool. We've got Dragapult and Energy. That's all we need. That's all we need. But it depends what we're playing against as to what the best route of play here is. Obviously, there's not much that we can realistically do apart from just attach Energy to a Dragapult. But we also have the Mysterious Treasure, so we're ready to go for next turn. We will just need to see something off of our top deck. We've got 2 cards over the next 2 turns to try and get ourselves into another Energy or another Dragapult VMAX. Alright, here we go. We've got an Acrobike. We're playing against a Jinx. Okay, so... this is likely to be Spiritomb. I'm going to be a little bit risky here, I think. Oh, this is a bad Acro Bike. We'll get the boss. I'm going to be a little bit risky. I'm just going to pass. I really should put that Dragapult V down. There's no harm in putting it down. We could just get donked here, but this might encourage our opponent to put a lot of damage counters onto a Zigzagoon, onto a Spiritomb. Really struggling there. It might encourage our opponent to put a lot of damage counters onto a Spiritomb, and if they miss, then we probably have a pretty good chance of winning. Now, if they get Hustle Belt, we probably lose. But if they get 3 damage counters, then they'll be doing 100. So 3 damage counters is likely, but not a knockout. So hopefully we can kind of encourage them to place lots of damage counters down and try and get the knockout with a big Dragapult VMAX attack next turn. We'll see how it goes. It is a big gamble, obviously. They only have 3 cards left, so they might not be able to go for it. They've gone for a second Pokénav. This is the first time I've really seen this card in Spiritomb. But it's pretty good. It's grabbing them a Rainbow Energy, so you can't complain about that. They're going to have their attack here. Whether they're going to be able to attack for a knockout is another question. We'll see. They've got a Marnie. Okay, so that's good and bad. It gives them some cards, but it gives us some cards as well. Our hand was kind of terrible, so I'm happy to see a Marnie. We've given ourselves another Energy. Okay, so not ideal. They've got 3, so we could be looking at a knockout here potentially. If they've got themselves the Hustle Belt, then the game is over, and we're probably going to be very disappointed that we didn't put the Dragapult V down, but it's not necessarily likely off of the Marnie. They would have already played it down if they had it, and the Pokegear was probably looking for something like a Jinx, something else that could come in. Okay, cool. So we are in a pretty solid spot here. They've hit into us. They've not knocked us out. Now, what we can do is we can just put this Dragapult on the bench, play the energy onto the bench Dragapult, and then just bite into the active. We're going to trade poorly here, but we've taken a knockout on a Spiritomb, and we've removed all of their damage from the board, which is really good. Now they need just an energy, and they can take the knockout, but we've set ourselves up with a Dragapult VMAX on the bench, potentially. If we can get going next turn, I'll be really happy. We've got a Quick Ball, so a Dedenne is a possibility. We can escape board onto the active Dragapult, which is now on the bench. And an Energy and also a VMAX will give us a really strong spot in this game. Like, this is the thing with Spiritomb, right? Is they need to put damage counters on things in order to get that kind of big damage output. But if they put the damage counters on, then it means that I find it easier to take knockouts with Dragapult. So I think we're in a pretty positive spot. They're going to move, I think they're going to move the energy, the damage off of the active. Yeah, they did, because Anguish Cry actually does 10 base damage, so they're getting the knockout here for free, effectively. But if we find ourselves something like a Reset Stamp, well, that boss isn't super good. I'm not super keen to get rid of that, but we're going to have to. If we get ourselves like a Reset Stamp or something, maybe we can find ourselves some other support as well, then we will be in a really, really strong spot. We need Energy VMAX. That's what we're looking for. We've got Energy and a supporter. Okay, so this is fine. We can attach down here. We could potentially Quick Ball to get some more damage onto that Spiritomb on the bench. Although, to be fair, does it really matter? This is a question that I always ask myself when I'm playing Spiritomb. Is it worth using Zigzagoon unless it's for knockouts? Probably. I don't know. We could get 2. It's just I'm worried about the scoop up net in our hand, right? The fact that we've got it, we may as well use it. Yeah, we may as well do it. It's not going to be the end of the world. I kind of want to put it down on this Jinx. It just sucks that it's over there. That's so bad. I probably shouldn't be doing this. I probably should be just using the damage from the Spiritomb to get the knockout. But that's okay. We'll be fine as long as we find a VMAX. We didn't find a VMAX. We've got a couple of Jirachis and an Acro Bike. Let's see what we find here. We don't find the VMAX yet. We'll grab Marnie maybe. Might be worth grabbing Energy perhaps. Nah, we'll grab the Marnie. And then we can retreat into Jirachi here, and hopefully we can find ourselves a Mysterious Treasure so we can get ourselves going. We've got an Acro Bike. Okay, well, let's try using the Acro Bike. Hopefully we can get the VMAX. I haven't used any Mysterious Treasures yet, so we're going to get one eventually. There we go. Okay, cool. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So now we can Mysterious Treasure. We're probably going to get rid of one of the Research here, because we've got 2 in our hand. We don't really need both of them. We'll grab the VMAX. and now we'll be able to get a knockout on a couple of things. Now the question is, what do we want to get knockouts on? Is it the Spiritomb or is it the Jinx? I'm thinking that it's probably going to be the Spiritomb. I cannot see a world where knocking out the Jinx is better, although if we want to, we could potentially do that, providing that the damage doesn't get moved off next turn. But that's okay. What we'll do is we'll place 5 damage counters onto this Spiritomb, 4 damage counters to take the knockout, and then we can put 10 more onto the Jinx. It's a risk. It's a risk, but it's a risk that I'm willing to take. It might be safer there just to go, alright, I'm going to place all the damage counters onto the Spiritomb on the bench so that they can't just move all these damage counters off, because I could potentially get really punished here if they find Spiritomb and Energy, but they've already had 3 Spiritombs knocked out, so I'm in a gambling mood. We'll see how it goes. Alright, so now they've got all the damage they need on a Spiritomb. If they get an Energy and a Hustle Belt, then this Dragapult VMAX is knocked out. But if they do that, then we have ourselves a reset stamp next turn. We can potentially grab ourselves a Dragapult V and just take a knockout on that Spiritomb with the first attack for 30 damage. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but obviously there was a risk that I maybe didn't have to take. They're setting themselves up here like they've got it. Okay. Well, actually, one of the good things here is if they do attack into us, they'll take 20 damage. So they can't really afford to attack with any more than 30 damage on their Spiritomb already. If they get the Hustle Bent, they'll go to 50, and then we can put the Zigzagoon into the active and scoop up net that Zigzagoon to do the last 10 damage to the Spiritomb in the active. So maybe it's not the end of the world. Maybe we've done ourselves a bit of a service here. So we'll see what ends up happening. Do they have themselves the knockout or not? If they have the knockout, then the game continues. If they don't, I think we actually win the game in the next couple of turns. If they don't knock us out, then we can obviously knock out the Spiritomb in the active. We could maybe even get a knockout on the Jinx on the bench. We'll wait and see. We'll see whether it happens. We have used a lot of scoop up nets already, but we do have Quick Ball in hand to help us find a second Zigzagoon. So we could potentially get there if they do, of course, miss the knockout. They're kind of waiting here to see what they do. They might not have Energy, they might not have Hustle Belt, so we'll see. Maybe the only Energy that they have is Rainbow, which of course would be pretty bad. The Rainbow Energy would get the attack, it would probably get the knockout if they had the Hustle Belt, but it will knock out their Spiritomb as well, so not ideal. They're just passing. Okay, cool. Well, I think that this pretty much wraps up the game for us. Yeah, they've conceded, and fair enough too. So there you have it, a couple of games with Dragapult. You saw just how powerful it can be. There are some risks in playing it, I am aware of them, but hopefully it is consistent enough to get across the line. I think this is the most consistent list of Dragapult that I've played, so hopefully it works out for the best. We'll see. We certainly will see. Hopefully you have some luck in your Players' Cup games if you are competing, and check out the channel in the next couple of days. We'll probably have some of our sets that we played in the Players' Cup up on the channel in the next couple of days. If you want to see those as they come out, click the subscribe button, which is just over here. Over on this side, we have some videos that YouTube thinks you'll like, and we've also got a playlist down the bottom for more of our deck profiles from the Rebel Clash format. This is the last big tournament for that format, so hopefully Dragapult gets a chance to shine before Eternatus VMAX comes to ruin its day. Thanks very much, everyone, for coming along and watching this one, and as always, we'll see you next time for more from the Sableyes. Bye.